What's up, guys? This is Oliver, formerly from Response AI and a few other SaaS tools that I've since exited. In this video, I wanted to talk about the very specific playbook I follow from getting an idea to deploying the idea, and just basically creating a software from scratch. Now, if you guys have coded before, that's great. If you haven't, that's fine. This video is going to detail exactly how I build my products and how I do it so fast, and then how I get straight to revenue. So, like I said, the following video will deconstruct my launch flow into logical steps so you can copy it. The process begins with identifying an idea that's financially viable. So in other words, something people will pay for. And then it's followed by a low cost method to validate the idea so that we're not building something that people aren't going to care about. And then my sort of video is going to talk about the step-by-step process for building an application. So this is the blueprint for turning a concept into a profitable, sellable asset from scratch. So why build a SaaS now? So the financial viability of micro software or SaaS is built on these two pillars. So you've got near zero marginal costs. So assuming it's a pretty simple app, even if you use APIs these days, it can still lead to a product that has exceptionally high profit margins. So try Comb, one of my previous softwares, it was making multiple 5 figures per month, and it was effectively costing me somewhere between $100 and $200 to actually run. My previous software, Response AI, was making thousands per month, but actually was costing a bit more. So that's because we used APIs. It was costing hundreds and hundreds of dollars to actually run. So a core advantage of the sort of modern software stack is that you can reduce costs while building it. And then depending on what kind of tool you want to build, it might get more expensive. Say, for example, you create a CRM, like a database of leads, for example, or some kind of project management tool. It's going to be so cheap to run. It's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be 99% margins. If you guys are using like an AI, API from OpenAI, for example, or using APIs, it's going to cost a bit more. So this sort of low cost is achieved by combining different technologies that make it really easy to build things. So obviously you've got AI editors like Lovable and Cursor that I talk about on this channel. And obviously it's going to reduce your cost of investment and starting up. Now that's complemented by a back-end service. So for example, Supabase is where all of the data of your users is going to be kept. So imagine a front end is what your software looks like, and the back end is where all of the data is stored. So say if someone logs in, where is that username and password being stored? It's being stored on the back end. Okay. If they save their nickname, or if, for example, on RuneScape back in the day, you would, unlock a new sword, or you would pick up a sword from someone after killing them, in the wilderness, right, is what they called it. The database will tell the front end, the database tells you every time you log in that you've got that new sword. So a back end, guys, is just basically what data is being shown to the user. Obviously you can store files, things like that. And then deploying it is as simple in my previous video as just putting it on Netlify. It takes seconds to deploy it, straight to the internet, and then you can use a custom domain as well. So if we go to the next slide, beyond its function as an income stream, a SaaS business or a software app is actually sellable as well. So having sold 3 apps now, some with low revenue and some with high revenue, there's always someone to buy these apps and give you money for it, right? Sometimes in the tens to hundreds of thousands. Now, it's basically how it values these businesses. The market values it based on the monthly recurring revenue or annual recurring revenue, so MRR or ARR. The predictability of subscription income makes software assets similar to like real estate and stocks and things like that. People want to buy them because it may, increase in value, or if you sell a software, people are pretty excited to build it themselves. So they will take it off you and think, I can probably 10x this. If they buy it from you for $200,000 and they can double it, then it's obviously worth their investment. And some of these people who buy your software will 10x it or 100x it. So for a solo founder, this provides a clear path to a capital event, right? Which is basically an exit. A software generating a manageable $5,000 in monthly recurring revenue or 60,000 ARR could be sold on marketplaces like MicroAcquire, or Acquire is what it's called now, or Microns is where I've sold a lot of my startups. for multiples ranging from 3x to 7x ARR or higher, depending on metrics like growth rate, customer churn, and that kind of thing. So this could result in the sale price of $180,000 to $420,000 or more for a business built with minimal initial investment. Now, this isn't just me saying it, like this is literally, you can find it online. If you look up acquire.com, and you can literally see, or flipper.com, flippa.com, you'll see that there's a lot of acquisition stories shared on these platforms of people selling, software for a lot of money. Now, how to get ideas. So the validated path versus the wilderness, to go back to the RuneScape analogy. So the shortcut, so cloning a proven success. It sounds dirty, guys, but you can just copy someone's idea, right? So the most efficient way to find a profitable SaaS idea is to identify one that is already working for someone else and build a better, niche, or more affordable version. Now, the build in public movement, which is prevalent in indie hacker communities or Twitter or X as it's now called, provides this insane level of intelligence for you if you are looking to find ideas. So a key dynamic at play is what's called attention currency. So here's how it works, guys. Founders, especially solo founders, they want to talk about their revenue and their tools because one, when you brag about revenue, it gets you more reach on these platforms. And two, more reach means that more people will find your tool, right? So they share their journey, including product details, launches, growth strategies, and most importantly, revenue screenshots. They say, I made $15,000 this month, right? It's often like in their bio, it says, these are my tools that make money. Mark Liu is like a legend in this space. He's consistently made amazing products. They're just great products. All of them. I use a lot of his products. And I wouldn't say brags, but he just shares what he's making, right? And if he's sharing that he's making $10,000 a month with some tool, then there's an element of, okay, well, that kind of niche or that specific tool must be working quite well. It obviously helps that he has thousands of followers, but you see how these kinds of things, revenue screenshots and people sharing, it's validation, and you can just go and copy people's ideas or at least take some kind of inspiration from them. Now, this public documentation of people's, software, and how it's doing, it builds an audience, it generates them leads, and then it establishes credibility. If I brag about making $50,000 a month, you are going to think, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about, and I'm going to invest in his products, like his project management tool or his coding tool, whatever. Now, when a founder publicly shares that, and shares that their software is, for managing social media makes $10,000 a month, they are unequivocally proving that a painful problem exists and that their audience and their solution, they're basically paying for it, right? So you can just copy that or at least take inspiration. Now, here are some platforms and the features and the signal strength. So Indie Hackers is for like these revenue verified founders. They actually are legitimately making that amount of money, and it's proven with Stripe. And this is good for finding micro SaaS models to replicate or niche down from. You've got Start a Story, which is a really cool platform that basically people talk about their cases and what they've done and how they've made money. Another high signal platform because it's showing how they, that is a dog going crazy outside. I'll try and ignore that. Understanding the full business journey from idea to scaling. I just had to skip ahead because the dog was going so insane. It's just some dog in the street. So you've got understanding the full business journey from idea to scaling. That's what Starter Story is for. With Build in Public on X, so hashtag Build in Public or hashtag, micro SaaS, whatever it may be, hashtag Indie Hacker, you get real-time updates and revenue screenshots from people. And it tells you about, identifying trends and currently profitable solo founder businesses. The only concern is that they could just be lying, or they can just use, like Photoshop or Canva to create revenue screenshots. Ideally, these people, you would find them then on these other platforms like Indie Hackers or Starter Story, or you would watch videos based off of their tools on YouTube, that kind of thing. Reddit is more of a discussion platform about pain points and product launches and things like that. People share like the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's good for discovering niche problems and what tools are trending. Then Idea Browser, one of my favorite tools, is basically just a giant database of SaaS ideas with market analysis and founder fit scores, brainstorming new ideas. The only problem is that the public, the public data and people sharing these things, it creates a market inefficiency. So founders trade a degree of secrecy about their tool for marketing reach. This trade-off is the primary enabler of the clone a validated idea strategy that I'm telling you guys about, because the marketing efforts of one founder become the de-risking mechanism for you. So if someone is bragging about their tool making money, then it establishes a link for you. Okay, I'm going to build this tool and make some money as well. A prime example of this is Abhishek from Uform. He's a great guy, awesome entrepreneur. He created a micro version of a giant multi-million-dollar company, which I personally do not enjoy using, which is Typeform. It's very expensive. It's an amazing tool, but it's quite expensive, and I just didn't ever like using it when I did need to use it. Now, he identified a gap in the market for a simpler, more focused solution, and he just made it, guys. You can just build these things. And it proves that competing with incumbents is possible by targeting a smaller subsegment or leveraging an audience or just copying ideas. Now, the scenic route. So we've talked about like actually, copying ideas, but what if you want to create an idea for yourself? I don't recommend this because your idea is often wrong. It can be wrong, and you're not going to build the next Facebook. You can build the next Facebook, but it's very unlikely, guys. It's much more likely that, because I've done it several times, much more likely that you can make a nice living out of a software product than building the next Tinder or something like that, because it's much harder to build those and they are unicorns, right? Now, this method, which is just brainstorming from scratch, it begins with those idea databases like idea browsers. So these platforms are cool because they don't just list random ideas. They present concepts that are structured around this formula that I always use, guys. Specific job for specific person in specific industry. So Idea Browser enhances this by providing analysis on market gaps and that kind of thing. So you can just go on it and copy and paste the entire page into something like ChatGPT or Perplexity. And see, by copying an entire page of these structured ideas, job, for specific person, for specific industry, these AI tools like ChatGPT or whatever, they will just spit out other ones, right? So a powerful prompt for this, which will be in the description, is analyze the structure and themes of these SaaS ideas, generate 50 new ideas that follow the same pattern. A tool that performs a specific job for a specific person in a specific industry, focused on underserved or niche markets, right? And as you can see on the right, it spat out loads of ideas. An idea database is completely free. I think there's like some paid plan. I'm not affiliated with it. But you get more than enough from the free plan. It just shows you loads of different tools and ideas, right? The process uses that database as a seed for the AI. So if you copy paste all those ideas into ChatGPT and ask it for similar tools, it's going to spit out all these different ideas that we've just looked at, like lesson plan generator for substitute teachers, right, in rural school districts. So you see how that's a specific job for a specific person in a specific, niche. Rental asset tracker for rental businesses, right? Pitch compliance check for pharmaceutical sales reps. So all of these random things, they might not be like striking a nerve right now, like, oh, I want to build that for you guys, because I don't know anything about pharmaceuticals, but I know that to build a good software, you need to have a specific job done for a specific person in a specific industry. Otherwise, you build products that no one wants. Validation, asking for wallets, not opinions. So before a single line of code is written, guys, an idea must be validated, okay? The only form of validation that matters is a potential customer's willingness to pay, right? Get that? I've made this mistake so many times, right? Feedback from friends, from family, social media polls, it's unreliable and it's misleading, right? So I could ask my mum if this is a good idea. She'd be like, oh, I love you so much. It is. You're so handsome, right? My mum loves me. My mum thinks I'm great. She's going to think my dumbass idea for some software is great. Oh, it's the best thing I've ever heard in my life. And it sucks. It's not true. Like, my mum's just trying to help me out. My friends, if none of them are in software or none of them are involved in software or SaaS or whatever, and I say, what's this idea like for some pharmaceutical app? They're going to be like, oh, sounds cool, because they're just trying to be supportive. People are socially conditioned to be agreeable, right? So asking, would you use this, elicits a polite, yeah, I'd use it. Yeah, if I was a pharmacist. No, no, they are not going to pay you, so don't listen to them. The act of pulling out a wallet or even clicking a button that signifies they are going to pay is the only accurate predictor, right? Not asking your mum. It's a smoke test playbook. So the objective of a smoke test or a fake door test is to simulate a real transaction. So you can get genuine purchase intent with minimal upfront investment. So you build a fake door landing page, use a no-code website builder like Framer or Lovable to create a single website with a proposed product. This can be, I say hours, this can be accomplished in 10 minutes, right? The page must contain 3 elements: a clear value proposition, the headline must be benefit driven, and instead of saying like AI accounting software, it says save 6 hours per week on bookkeeping with my tool, right? Plausible product mock-up. So use simple screenshots or mock-ups or use AI to build it, whatever it may be. They don't need to be functional. They just need to look like they're functional. And then a call to action: buy now or start your trial. Then you drive traffic. So this is the traffic over the span of a couple of days from one of my software tools. As you can see, 300 visitors, and they paid at a 4% conversion rate. But obviously what you guys can do is allocate a small budget of say $50, or it could be free, just tweet about it or post videos about it on YouTube, to an advertising campaign. And the goal is not to achieve a return on this. You just meant you're supposed to waste the $50, but you collect data. You run ads to the platform where the target audience is most concentrated. So I've done this on X, on YouTube, on Facebook. And for a software aimed at accountants, LinkedIn or Facebook groups or X will be fine, because they're going to find those, those people. The ad copy, or in other words, what it says on the website, should mirror the landing page's value proposition. So in your ad, it should just say, save 6 hours a week on bookkeeping as a solo founder, for example, right? Then you just use something like Google Analytics, which any of these AI tools will set up for you immediately. I use the guy I mentioned earlier, Mark Liu. I use his tool, DataFast. It's really cool. The primary metric is to monitor how many people click the buy button. Now, the click is the strongest possible signal of purchase intent from a user who believes they're about to make a real commitment. Why would you click buy now for $30 if you're not at least interested in buying it? Because it's only going to take you to a buy link. I don't click buy now buttons to just stare at the price and then disappear. I typically click on it to buy, right? So then the apology email. So when a user clicks the call to action, they should not be met with some kind of error. They should be directed to a form that just says, we're not quite ready for launch. This was just a test. You're a bit early. And as a thank you, enter your email below and you'll be on a wait list and you'll receive a 50% discount or a lifetime discount or whatever it may be, when we actually launch. The action achieves 2 objectives, guys. It apologizes for a test where you got valuable data, and it begins building a wait list. Like, great. Like, you've got a wait list and you've got like proof that people are going to buy the product, which is just amazing. And if you do this experiment and no one clicks on it, then your tool sucks. That's okay. That's okay. Like, we're not here to make a multi-billion-dollar product in the first go or whatever. So this bridges the psychological gap between a user's stated interest and their behavior. So that you're forcing a micro commitment, and the smoke test provides an actual forecast of whether your tool is going to be cool or not and people are going to buy it over asking your friends. Now, your first functional prototype. So the PRD is a big document, not for you to read, but for instructions to AI. So we're going to build our first prototype, not even in days, in hours. So a well-structured PRD is the most important input for your entire project. You can find this in the bio, the description, sorry. Act as a senior product manager. I'm building a SaaS application that does X or Y, and generate a PRD of at least 2,000 words. Document must include detailed sections for the users, core features, Stripe integrations, UI principles, all that kind of thing. You're going to pop this into Lovable or to Cursor or to ChatGPT, whatever it may be. Now, what it's going to start doing, the tool, Lovable or Cursor, whatever it may be, is going to start interpreting the PRD, which is that long document that we've just created from the prompt, and it's going to start building. Now, the 2 leading tools in this space, Lovable and Cursor, they cater to slightly different workflows, right? So the pricing model for Lovable is credit-based, and the ideal user is non-coders, founders, developers who don't really know how to code. I use Lovable because it's so fast to build a prototype for my smoke door test, and smoke screen test. And the back-end integration to Supabase, they're really friendly, those 2 tools. So it's really easy to build. And the key strength is you can build from a single PRD. Now, Cursor is a bit different. It requires you to have a bit more knowledge about code and code files and bases, but it integrates with any backend code because you can just give it rules. Like I want to develop with Supabase. And then obviously it's complex. It's a bit more multi-file stuff. It's harder. With Lovable, you just see the finished product, but with Cursor, you do have to see the file. So if you're more familiar with more familiar with coding, then use Cursor. The workflow is straightforward. You paste the entire 2,000 word PRD into the chosen tools interface, and it just initiates the build. And effectively, to talk to the back end, all you have to do is say, look, now integrate this with Supabase, and the PRD will say that. And I use Supabase, which is an alternative to a more expensive tool called Firebase. It manages authentication, so log in, log out, and it manages your database. And you can put a lot of data in the database before you have to start paying. And again, to integrate Supabase, all you have to do is post this into your code editor, set up and integrate a Supabase backend for this application based off of my PRD. So implement user authentication, email, password, create the database tables as defined in the PRD. So don't worry about this too much, guys. All that means is if my tool is a to-do list app, the PRD is going to say, build the to-do list app. And this prompt here that you can copy paste is going to say, the database should store their to-dos. That's basically it. And their username and password. And that will effectively generate almost a complete app. It's not going to look great, but it's going to be workable. It's important to be aware of the free tiers limitations because if your project is inactive for a week, it's paused. It doesn't mean it disappears, but once the application has paying customers, I do recommend sometimes starting at the plan that's paid, but I never have. I've never paid for Supabase, and I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars with software. Like I just you don't need to, right? Now, the domain, you purchase an inexpensive domain name from a registrar like Porkbun. And then with version control, you instruct your AI code editor. You just ask, I want to post all of my code to GitHub. GitHub serves as like a source of truth. It's almost like Google Drive for your apps. And it's basically the application's code all in one place. And every time you save a file, it's going to update GitHub. So whether you use Lovable or Cursor, it's just going to update GitHub. And then you just connect, like in my previous video, you connect GitHub to a deployment tool like Netlify. It'll automatically detect all of the project's files inside GitHub and then just post it online. Then you just have to set the custom domain, which I talked about in my previous video, and it's done. Now, this integrated chain, guys, from PRD to AI editor to backend service to version control and finally to a live deployment is a single streamlined workflow. And this is the mechanism that has compressed my software development lifecycle from months to days and in sometimes hours, right? I'm currently building a tool that is a B2B sort of like lead tool to help you find more leads and customers online, similar to my other product. And it's taken me less than 45 minutes to build a full build out because I'm used to it. I'm going to be doing more builds on this channel and just, obviously subscribe and like and that kind of thing. But I'm so excited to keep on talking about this, guys, and teaching you guys how to build software. All right. So take care.